Hey everyone, I'm Taylor Siebert, and today we have a really cool story for you to share and document over this next school year and beyond. Have you ever considered starting a media club or class at your school, and how you develop and create incredible videos that students create to share what your school is all about? Well, today we're talking with John DeBoer, who's beginning the exciting journey to start a brand new media club at Concordia High School in Omaha, Nebraska. Here at Strive Education, we are thrilled to help guide them along, but we also understand you have to have a clear vision, mission, and goals that are really the key to starting a successful program. And John has laid that out, and we're going to talk about that today, because without those, the program has no direction or focus. John, welcome.
Well, good morning. How are you today, Taylor?
Yeah, doing well. Excited to dive into this and to share this with teachers across the country and potentially world.
Well, I appreciate you asking me. When we started looking at doing a media club back about March of last school year, it was like, could we make this happen? I mean, let's face it, we're teachers. We all have a lot to do, many hats. Summer really isn't much of a summer break these days. I mean, maybe up to the 4th, and then from there you start to get ready for the new stuff. So when they approached me about this idea of doing media, it was one of those I jumped on. There's other ideas you just kind of, but this is a big one. This is one that can make a lasting impact with the kids. They're Gen Z, but I'm starting to call them more the content generation. And so how the kids create their content and use the content becomes much more important than us old folks. We scroll through, look at some stuff and so forth, but I still read a newspaper. Do you even know what one of those is, Taylor? Are you old enough to know?
Yep, I just was at my parents' house and grabbed the newspaper. And saw the sports section there. So I do not currently subscribe to a newspaper though. So
yeah, and that's the difference. I always had the newspaper. We had multiple editions of a newspaper, but now kids are getting content. And so how do the kids make content that's going to be quality, first off? Because there's a lot of content out there, and some of it's just ironically, I started making a hype video today for promoting the media club.
Nice.
And it's kind of bad. I mean, I made it really bad on purpose, and then the end screen says, "Hey, you think this was rotten? Help them out. Make some good stuff."
Way to set the bar.
But it set the bar low so we can go up from there. So I wanted to start creating the media club because I want the kids to be able to get a grasp on what it's like. It's not just a 15-second TikTok or a 30-second, hey, just chain of consciousness because you went to a local drive-through and they gave you the wrong order. Content is really important and will be important in the foreseeable future. Whether you're a CEO of a company or starting your own small business, or even working at a trades or a construction job, it's all about how you can get people to engage. The joke in real estate is it's location, location, location. I think it needs to be reworked in terms of today's society for content, for teaching, for businesses. It's engagement, engagement, engagement. And if we can make engaging content, stuff that's interesting and fun, and work through the process of how you create that, well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's what school's for, right? To experiment and to try new things. And we talked a lot about this. We had a meeting last week, which spurred on this idea of let's document the journey at Concordia and what John is doing. And your background's really unique. You're a business teacher. You've been in the public sector, right, working for a business or running IT, and now you're teaching, and you've had lots of different experiences. And so, I think it cues you up well. But I think a lot of things you're developing as starting a program is really really key for even those that are in and a program 5 years in need to do what you've done, and we're going to talk about your vision and your mission and the goals that you've laid out that I think really sparked on this idea of let's document this journey, because the reality is that's going to give you a focus of where you're going, but you might have some roadblocks or some things that we're going to talk about that come up, and you got to be able to adjust to those. And so, let's start off. Can you tell us a little bit about the vision and the mission for the Concordia
Sure.
Media Club?
Um, Many times I'll ask myself, what do you want? Whether it's to an individual student, what do you want? Or you're trying to deal with some conflict, what do you want? And in this case, what do we want? I really want the kids to be able to look at the content they're creating or the content that already is out there and be able to filter through it and take, the good stuff, the not so great stuff, and be able to and process it. Um, Kids want to express themselves and they want to innovate a lot, which is great, but you need to make sure you're doing it in an appropriate manner. Make sure you're doing it and that's reflecting your core values, your beliefs, and your ideals. And that's a big part of what my vision is kids being able to create content that, well, you could show your grandma and not turn red from blushing.
It's important.
It's real important. And you should be able to share it with the world because kids don't always realize that once something is recorded, it's going to be there forever. I mean, your footprint is existing throughout the world. And so what you do and how you create stuff is going to be there for generations. Um, there are plenty of instances where people go through a job interview process and it's like, this is really good. And somebody goes and looks at their social media and says, nope, sorry. Not going to do that. I heard of a instance here just last week. Big multinational corporation that they were going to hire someone, and they looked at some social media and said, yeah, this isn't a person who reflects our core beliefs and values.
Yep.
And kids, let's face it, teenagers don't always think much beyond today. You give them a project to do and you want it to be done, and you give them a week to do it. When do they start it?
We all know. We all know.
We all
Our
know.
audience is teachers. Yeah, we all know.
Well, we all know. And as the T-shirt that's out there that says, I have not yet begun to procrastinate.
Do you have that?
I haven't bought it yet.
Yeah.
I haven't bought it yet.
Even better.
Haven't bought it yet. I need to buy it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the vision. Then when you get to the vision, you got to talk about the individual, the nuts and bolts, the mission, why we exist. Well, the club exists, and hopefully we can get enough interest that we can have classes in the future. But we need to give the kids the skills. It's not just recording 15 seconds on your phone and posting it. Says, hey, this is great content. I'm gonna be the next big thing. I'm gonna end up with 1 million followers. It doesn't happen overnight. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't. Just like anything, you have to work for it, and you have to prepare, and you have to practice. And so giving kids those skills and what's an appropriate setup, what's an appropriate background, what's an appropriate lighting setup, do you have good sound, those technical skills, and then also just ask your questions. I did journalism in school and in college, and you don't just walk into an interview cold. You have to have questions. I mean, we have some questions that we're using right here.
Yeah.
And
And
so
it's important
that's,
for students to, yeah, to go through that process, is what you're saying.
mhm. I've taught a little math in my day, and you teach them multiple tools to solve like a quadratic equation, whether you go factoring or graphing or the quadratic formula, but you're all different means to an end. And here, the end is creating good content, whether it's actual video, whether it's a podcast, or a just a set of still pictures. But you're creating good content. And that's what the tools are going to be talked about. We're going to work through. Is it going to be perfect? No. I learned a phrase a long time ago called ARF, ARF, absolute rigid flexibility. And that's what it's going to take, knowing full well that there are going to be mistakes. Um, Knowing full well that it's not going to be great. But as you said, it's school, and that's a place to fail. But I like to look at it as a safe place to fail.
Yeah.
It's not like you're creating content in your first adult job, and oops, I accidentally put a line of code in to my security software that kind of took the whole world down. Oops. Mm,
You only could do that once in the real in the business IT world, right?
yeah. Have I done some of those? Yeah, but that's why you have sandboxes.
Yeah,
And this is a sandbox for the kids to play in.
absolutely.
So,
So let me read. I'm going to read the vision, and
okay.
we'll maybe have we'll pop that up on the screen too and put it in the notes. But you wrote this, and it says empowering students to express, innovate, and connect the values, beliefs, and ideals of Concordia through digital media. That
Hmm.
is the best vision. Any of you guys watching, teachers watching that, copy it, use it, and then iterate off of it, whatever that looks like for you. But I think that's a phenomenal vision. And then the mission that you've written out is to inspire and equip students with the skills and knowledge to create impactful digital content, promote digital literacy, and foster a collaborative environment where creativity and innovation thrive. You want to talk about the collaborative environment?
Yeah. Um, we go to school, as I tell the kids, the whole reason you're in school is so that eventually I can retire. You see, I need you to make enough money so that you can pay Social Security so that I can eventually retire. So I want to make sure you can get the best job possible.
Yeah, it's good.
And right here, I need you to be able to collaborate with other people. No matter what job you're at, you're going to have to work and interact with other individuals. And I was at a local business here recently, and they said they have to train some of their new hires on how to greet people, how to interact, how to work together without using technology or a phone or any of that in between things. And so, how you go up and how you shake somebody's hand or how you look at them in the eye and how you express your ideas and don't get all in a kerfuffle because your idea got shut down. And so, that collaborative environment is real important. And creativity is a huge part of it as well. So you listen, you throw spaghetti at the wall, and some of it's going to stick. And then you peel it off the wall and you realize, okay, took the paint off with this one too. Probably shouldn't use this one. But being able to work together in a collaborative environment and realistically, and maybe I should tweak it and put the word deadlines in there. And we mentioned this before, but deadlines are huge because in the real world, you got to have those deadlines and how things work out. So none of us can do it alone. We all need to be able to work with others.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a team of how many that work on your content versus your technical skills, your installations, and so forth.
We're over 10 that are
Hmm.
all, it's all part of the process. Yeah.
And you being CEO, Chief Everything Officer, you jump in
Yes.
and you do what you do. And yet, if something happens and somebody's sick and there's supposed to be a certain state event happening and somebody can't be there, you're going to jump in because that's collaboration. You work
Yeah.
together. You don't say,
Yeah.
no, I can't do that today because I need to walk my pet iguana.
It's not going to
So
fly. Yeah.
it's just not going to necessarily fly. So you got to work together. And project based learning is more, it emulates what happens in the real world more. And so you look at each one of these things, whether you're creating an advertisement for your scoreboard or you're going and getting print ads for your packets that you pass out at a game. Those require collaboration. And so the more kids can collaborate, the better off we are.
I love it. And that's a great mission for you guys starting and getting going. And I think those two kind of words, if you will help guide your students. And you constantly are repeating that of why you're doing what you're doing, right? That you've got to have that, and the students got to have that. And the next part of this, and then we'll wrap things up, and we'll do some check-ins with John throughout the school year, so you guys can see what he's learning, what students are learning. That's why we're doing this. So, as I was thinking about this, I thought, yeah, it'd be fun to check in with him in a year and share what he learned. But let's document as we go. They have some great ideas and things like that, but let's share what they learn along the way. And I think this part of what I wanted you to share with your goals is really important. You've got SMART goals. You want to talk about those?
For those who are not familiar, SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely or time based, or you put a time frame on it.
Yeah.
The first thing is we got to tell the kids what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Make sure that the stuff they're spreading, uploading, is not going to be haunting them sometime in a job interview when they're trying to get a job. It's good content, quality content. It's not just showing, hey, this is my hamburger that arrived and I ordered a salad, but actual something that's useful that you want to share. It's okay to have fun stuff now and then, but really, do we all need to spend our time swiping around and around and around? No, there's more things you can do. And so giving good content that's worth your time is important. So that's what I want to start with is talk to the kids. Hey, what's good stuff and what's not good stuff? And at that same time, we're going to start entering the foray of creating some content. Okay, let's talk about if you're doing a photography, the rule of thirds. If you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about doing a audio visual, how is the sound? How many times have you heard people use their camcorder and they got a good picture, but you can't hear anything because that little camera on the front of the camcorder just doesn't cut it. So how do you get good audio to go with the video? We were talking about the aspect ratios and the lighting and so forth. And those are the two things I want to start off with. After we start getting some of that in, we have some school partners that we're working with that helps make some of this available. And we're going to work on having the kids create some advertisements and not just, okay, let's go record the video and splice it together. No, I want the kids to take it, as I say, from cradle to grave. Start with, okay, here's a name at a business. Why don't you set up a meeting? Somebody else will attend with you, or we'll do a Zoom call or what have you. Talk to them and try and sell an advertisement. Well, we're not going to throw the kids under the bus. We're going to give them some soft, easy sells to start with. We might move to a little more difficult depending on how good they do. But then once they have sold, now go through a checklist. Okay, what kind of advertisement do you want? Do you want a print? Do you want a video? Do you want an audio? What content is required in it? Do you want to have overhead shots? Do you want to have people? Do you want to have music in the background? All that. Then go record. And a 30-second ad is not 30 seconds of recording, as we all know. Probably at least an hour before you can find the right stuff. And it's not constant recording, it's setting everything up, getting the lighting in place, getting the right mics on people, and then recording a few seconds, and then resetting, and recording a few seconds, and then resetting, and so forth. And then finally, creating that ad, doing the editing, the splicing, giving it back to them. So you see where I'm going. They're doing the whole process, the follow-up, project-based learning. Will it be easy? That's okay if it's not easy, because that's how we learn things. Will there be grace given if there's mistakes made? I'm sure. Because that's how you learn. So those are the big things I'm hoping to get done. If I get 2 or 3 of those advertisements made and processed by the time we get to winter sports season, basketball, and so forth, I'll be really happy.
Yep, that's a great goal. And we didn't share a little bit of context, but one of the driving forces of creating this club was you guys signing on with Score Vision, and then also utilizing our digital media education program to help. We're kind of helping guide you in this process and starting. And so there's some units and lessons that you're going to be able to kind of handpick. And I'm really excited to learn how that works with you guys having a club. So when are you guys meeting? I think that's important for teachers to understand kind of the structure and how
So
you're going to meet
it
as
is
a
a
club.
0 hour. And I've also got another group of people that will be meeting after school. But then we have a kind of a homeroom that we have 2 or 3 times a week that we're also going to be meeting during the day, get both teams together in the same room at the same time. And the homeroom is kind of a open format. So we should be able to use that time to, okay, here's what we've got going, working on schedules of who's going to work this through, who's going to contact this person, who's going to contact that person, what is our deadlines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we're going to be doing before and after school because we're going to be sharing some computers with the graphic design class, and they have obviously classes during the day. And then and kids are just going to use some of their own stuff too, I'm sure. There's plenty of freeware out there. Is that even a term these days, freeware?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
free software. Yeah.
Free software, yeah. But they call them apps. Okay, fine.
Yes, that would be true.
Free apps. It's just a computer program.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you'll have different times throughout the day, and they'll be able to check in. You'll probably, they'll be able to talk to you, and they might have intro to business. You might have a student who's in your media club that, is in some of your classes. And I think that's going to be fun. And the reality is I love that you guys are starting with a club. We have lots of schools that start with a class too, but the reality is a lot of times the students that really grab a hold of this, they're working on it in the evenings, and they are working it in the, after school and before school, or when they have study hall and things like that. It's really hard to just say, okay, this time of the day, get creative. Sometimes those creative moments don't come when you have them scheduled and when they're blocked. Sometimes they can be, but it might happen while they're in English class. An idea pops in their head, or, oh, I need to do this. And that, not to say that they're not paying attention, but that's when okay, they're really starting to adopt and be engaged in what you guys are trying to do.
Engagement.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's what it comes down to.
Well, I think that wraps up our first episode. We do not have our second episode scheduled. We'll wait till you get started. But next steps, it sounds like you're recruiting some students, getting some meetings set up before school. How's that going?
I've got a group of kids coming in next evening. We're going to do it at 6:30 at night.
Nice.
A lot of them are working during the day, so 6:30 is a good evening. But we've got the start, and I've got names. We created again. I had a different student help me create the promotional video.
Yeah, cool.
Which, well, let's just say, may not have been the most.
A promo video for the media club.
A promo video for the media club, and it's fine. Yeah. It's not terrific, and of course it ended with so this is what Mr. DeBoer does. He picked it out. He picked the transitions and the music. Please help him come to the club.
Hey, if it works.
It works. It's not.
We'll find out.
It is not Academy Award winning material.
Yeah.
Or Emmy or whatever. But we have to start somewhere. And again, it's like, oh, I can do better than this. We'll see what happens.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, until next time, thank you, John, for just investing the time and seeing the value in creating a club like this for students at Concordia. And I hope this inspires the teachers watching. Please reach out. You guys can, we want you to join our community, futurereadyeducators.com. We'll put a link below to join that, where we have a lot of free content. And then obviously we have our paid programs too that you can learn more about, our digital media education program and our broadcast education program. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Have a good day.